Okay. Camera is on. Can talk about camera. Okay. Ọ̀dọ̀ ìyàwó látọ̀dọ̀ Professor Adéyanjú sí the video orí ìyàwó Desola. Welcome everyone. So I promise not to take too much of your time today, like yesterday, but I would also try as much as possible to pass the information across. So yesterday we started our discussion on the different kinds of assets that we have within the cybersecurity space. Actually, àwọn assets that I identify our physical assets. I identify our data assets or information assets. We also identified the virtual assets. So I want to share nípa vulnerability assessment or case of vulnerability management. Vulnerability management again is a life cycle that consists of five. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Actually, got analysis. I am recording. So it's it's a framework that consists of five different phases. Our phases there: identify phase, assessment phase, prioritization, remediation, as well as verification phase. Our phases márààrún yìí ló wà nínú what we call the vulnerability management lifecycle. So organization time they need this cycle, they need the implementation of this cycle for every kinds of assets that they have. So we've successfully discussed physical assets. Báwo la ṣe máa assess, báwo la ṣe máa manage vulnerabilities tó wà lórí àwọn physical assets tá a ní nínú organization. As of the first approach is to make sure you identify what are the assets we are talking about. What physical assets do we want to assess their vulnerabilities? La fẹ́ mọ̀ or la fẹ́ manage vulnerabilities wọn. Ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kejì, a wá ní láti assess what are the vulnerabilities therein. Kí wá làwọn vulnerabilities tó wà nínú ẹ̀? In the first phase, I identify our assets. In the second phase, I identify our vulnerabilities to wà nínú our assets yẹn. Then we move on to prioritization. Àwọn vulnerabilities tá a bá wá bá pàdé ń bì, oríṣiríṣi ìran vulnerabilities ló máa jẹ́, and we will categorize them based on their severity level. Vulnerabilities ju vulnerabilities lọ. Ẹ mọ̀ pé in life, problem ń kálukú ó jura wọn lọ. Tẹ́ bá gauge problem ń kálukú, ẹ máa rí pé ó dàbí pé lè ga jù lè lọ. The same thing applies. Vulnerabilities, there are critical vulnerabilities, there are high vulnerabilities, there are medium and low vulnerabilities. So the next phase is to prioritize these vulnerabilities. Èwo la kọ́kọ́ máa mójútó, ó tó dípò mójútó the other. So prioritization yẹn, then we'll move on to remediation. Àwa fẹ́ solve àwọn vulnerabilities that we prioritize yìí. Lẹ́yìn tá a ti wá solve it, we now want to re-verify pé ṣé implementation tá a ṣe ṣáwọn controls tá a put in place ṣé remediation tá a suggest ṣó ṣiṣẹ́ ẹ jẹ́ ká verify tá a bá ti verify ẹ̀ a máa wọ̀ òkè ó ṣiṣẹ́ kò ṣiṣẹ́ then the cycle continues, it continues, then we move on to identification again. In an event where there is a new deployment of new assets, a máa integrate ẹ̀ sínú asset inventory wa or asset register wa, a tún máa assess, prioritize, remediation, so it's a continuous cycle. A ṣàlàyé lè lórí physical assets. So lánàá a bẹ̀rẹ̀ nípa vulnerability management of cloud assets, of virtual assets. How do you assess? Torí ìgbà tá à ń ṣe management of this physical assets here, uh, tool tá a lò was Nessus. We used Nessus, which was convenient for us to use, and we're able to use that to understand what vulnerabilities are there. So Lana, for cloud assets, we now used a tool called Prowler. We use this tool, Prowler. We went through the installation phase and how to use it and how to get your findings out of Prowler in terms of compliance, in terms of the risk identified, and what else? I think, and details of the vulnerabilities that are found. So our reference in job description, Kalano, if you look at this role, this is a vulnerability analyst role in London. MRP, the role of this person that will be hired will be to conduct a threat and vulnerability assessment of identified or to identify potential security risks, which we were able to do comfortably. And I believe everybody here can do that both on physical assets as well on any cloud assets. Alakokoni. Then the next phase would be to analyze and prioritize vulnerabilities based on risk and potential impacts. Good. Taba wo the vulnerability management lifecycle again, you'd see that as a complete assessment learner, when we scanned using the Prowler, then the job description now mentions that analyze and prioritize vulnerabilities, which is also the next phase of our vulnerability management lifecycle to prioritize. Now, I would refer you back to Nessus. Ìgbà tá a scan Nessus, tá a scan àwọn assets wa pẹ̀lú Nessus, you would see that there's a sample results to one begin. You would see that these tools by default, they prioritize the vulnerabilities for us. When you look at the output of this, this is the Nessus scan, by the way, Nessus reports, and it's a Nessus scan on this device that has the IP address of 192.168.11.1.205. Then, ìgbà tí Nessus scan, will discover 31 critical vulnerabilities, 150 high vulnerabilities, 30 medium vulnerabilities, 2 low vulnerabilities. Tẹ́bá wò, excuse me, why did I do that? Tẹ́bá wò, ẹ máa rí pé you have the severity here, login ID name. Ẹ máa rí pé critical vulnerabilities ló kọ́kọ́ gbé wá. Then ó wá fi high vulnerabilities ó fi tẹ̀lé. This is prioritization. Then ẹ máa rí the next one, which is the medium vulnerabilities, ṣẹ́tí priority lè. Àmọ́ prioritization wa ibi ìkọ́ láti máa prove it. You know, when you look at this, it says analyze and prioritize vulnerabilities based on risk and potential impact. So, tẹ́bá dẹ̀ wo eléyìí náà, ó sọ pé prioritize, which is the third phase. Let us now understand prioritization according to ISO standard. Any professors were, if at any point you don't understand what I'm saying, Abodaru, you can put it up, put the question here. I would be checking from time to time. Put it in the chat box. So I'll be checking from time to time to, yes, I'm recording. This is a question that is out of scope. So can someone change the entire OS if discovered? Okay, as new out of scope, I'm answering later. Is any question relating to what we're doing? Just put it here. So bad there at any point, they're checking more. So let us understand prioritization according to ISO. Let us go and read about it. ISO sọ pé risk assess and prioritize found vulnerabilities. Àti ṣe assessment níbí, àti identify vulnerabilities wà níbi assessment phase yìí. So for prioritization, only risk assess and prioritize found vulnerabilities. That is, whenever you identify a vulnerability, perform a risk assessment of it. Òun náà ni JD ń sọ fún wa. Analyze and prioritize vulnerabilities based on risk and potential impact. Ibi láti wá sọ pé your risk register comes in. Your risk register allows you to prioritize based on risk, based on risk impact level. Báwo la ṣe máa go about it? So I shared a copy of this risk assessment yesterday, risk register yesterday. But before we move there, let's go back to our Prowler. Scan Ashilana Nani. When you move to findings under Prowler, ẹ máa rí pé Prowler náà ti bá wa prioritize àwọn risk yẹn based on severity. You would see that all of these are the findings it found. It had about 70 findings in total, out of which you'd see that the first two, you see the severity level, critical. So Prowler to add that in such a way that you can filter based on anything. So tẹ́ bá fẹ́ wo àwọn critical vulnerabilities, tẹ́ bá apply changes, á gbé wá so you know the total number of critical vulnerabilities you have. So you now start your risk assessments with the highest level of severity, which is the critical level. Then eléyìí la fẹ́ gbé wá sí orí fẹ́ gbé wá sórí risk register wa. We are trying to assess and prioritize. Don't forget, this is what we are doing. We want to analyze and prioritize vulnerabilities based on risk and potential impacts. Interfacing. So where are we? Let's go back here. Then ẹ jẹ́ ká gbé risk register wa jáde. Let me see. Okay. Kí ni vulnerability alákọ̀ọ́kọ́ tá a discover? A root account MFA enabled was failed. Failed. I just click on it. So you see the vulnerability here. We click for an information vulnerability. So here, the first column, the one risk register wa, ó sọ pé reference ID. So eléyìí, oríṣiríṣi àwọn companies wọ́n máa ń ní different methods for referencing or for their ID. So for the first vulnerability, as we R001, or for the first risk, we can say R001. Second risk, we say R002. We hit enter. So iye itabani na lama is since we have okay, MRP 25 last year, right? We have 25. Now the risk title. Roots accounts as MFA enabled. Risk title here. We'll pass it here. Root account has MFA enabled. So now in here, I want to say failed. The risk description. Everything that I need now to provide for one. So under the overview, MRE, the description. So let's say the AWS root account, blah, 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 all of this. This is the description. So we'll just copy that. We'll pass that into the risk description. So we can expand this. Good. Risk description one here. Now, what assets was affected? What assets was affected? Now, Tebawu, this is a vulnerability that affects IAM, identity and access management. You know, we have now you see that the service here is IAM. Actually, So anything tó bá jẹ mọ́ login, password, permission, nǹkan kan báwọn IAM ni. So asset affected, we say IAM, and they decide as a centralized VM. Now, only this threat source, we might prefer actually threats because for there to be a risk, would say there has to be a presence of a threat and a vulnerability. Shape threat is present, shape vulnerability present. So we have identified the vulnerability already. It's failed this root MFA. Are there any threats? Are there any potential vulnerabilities? So this is yes, and this is yes. Now, this is a very important part. Impact level at a likelihood. You know that Ali define risk score. When you look at this vulnerability, also play it is critical. Somebody sọ pé nǹkan wà critical. The vulnerability score or the risk score usually between 20 to 25. It's usually between 20 to 25. Let us checking the so according to Ubaya ISO ni yes. Now according to ISO says that critical vulnerabilities are usually between 9 to 10. Teban low the 0 to 10 range. But if you're using 0 to 25 range, or differ to this one. But if you're using 0 to 10, which is commonly used, if you're using the 0 to 10 range, critical vulnerabilities or critical risks are usually between 9 and 10. High are usually between 7 and 8.9. Medium 4 to 6.9 and low from 0.1 to 3.9. So vulnerability by it is critical. Because it is critical, impact level, likelihood level, we wouldn't be able to assign a certain value to it. But the risk rating, or otherwise known as the risk score, because it is critical, amounts of 9 to 10, because it is a critical risk. Um, or let's just put in critical. The risk category, okay, risk category will matter. We'll give it critical risk. So let's say risk rating instead of risk score then. Now, Emma Bagby, for your physical assets, for your physical assets, let's look at a case study. Obeaka Parile, then I'll show you for a physical assets. Threats present, vulnerability present. Impact level, these are not defined, but the risk rating is critical according to Prowler. Now, risk category. Under category wo ni risk tari under category wo lo fall sí? We have third-party risk, we have insider threats, we have access control, and so many other kind of categories. Now, Tebari Woileyi, when you go back here, uh, when you go back here, you would see that we have the critical risk. When you read about the risk, it says without MFA, compromise of the root password or access keys can lead to full account takeover. An attacker with roots can disable protection, steal or delete data, change billing, and create persistent admin, undermining confidentiality, integrity, as well as availability. So now this is the part that needs. If centralized root access, imagine this is just if centralized root access is enabled in organizations, the presence of individual root accounts is also noted. Pepper will Under a Wolo policy, it falls mostly under access control failure because we're unable to control the accesses of this particular individual. Under access control failure policy. Now, on what security domain? On what security domain? You would see it's also evident from here. Develop categories. You see categories, it says identity, access, the categories. So security domain, you find identity and access control, low falsely. Risk owner. Huh. Now, Emma Jagbabi, if we, whenever you're scanning, Oman Jekama, what accounts lower affected? And when you look at this, this is root accounts. This particular vulnerability is for the root account. So the owner of this first now will now be root. Mark for root is there. We can centralize this. So a risk response strategy. As you all know, on a Mary Lamangba saying treat risk, we have four methods of risk treatment. Everybody more. Risk acceptance, mitigation, avoidance, and mitigation.
Sharing.
Sharing, that's transference.
Transparent.
Transference. Thank you very much. So now, risk response strategy, what do you think we can do in this situation? Logically, we just have to mitigate because it is something that can be done internally. We just need to enable MFA. We look at remediation, develop remediation, enable MFA for the root user. Easy. That is the only thing we need to do. It is something we can mitigate. So just say mitigate. Then mitigation notes. So you can just copy this blah blah blah. This is the remediation notes, and you can pass this here. Now, status. Any current status, see, risky. It has just been newly opened. It is currently opened. Or Elisokwe in review. Because, why would it be in review? Because as a security analyst, it is not your call to remediate any risk. It is first of all your call to suggest remediation techniques. So what you're doing here, you're analyzing, you're prioritizing, you are also suggesting what remediation techniques should be used. Develop job description. Develop and implement remediation plans to mitigate identified vulnerabilities. So before development and implementation, you first need to suggest. Uh, Good. Date identified. If it is today, you'll say equals to today, then tab. Hit enter. Now, this is today's date. A need that discover. Then when will be the next review date? The next review date of this particular vulnerability, because it is a critical risk, should be in the next 48 hours, according to ISO. ISO says that critical risk should be addressed. The target should be 48 hours. So, Tabashi, 48 hours, oh 06, I'm sorry, 17 plus. So this would be oh 06, 19, 2026. So add a fee formula and SDB. You can just say if the starting value is critical, add 2 to the date identified. Easy. Ekaleshi formula. So now this is how we go about um, each of the vulnerabilities that you identify. Each one of them, you go about it like this. Load the risk register. For the second vulnerability that you identify, Lori Prowler, this one, the next critical one, you click on it, the same thing, We'll click on it, would also put it the same way, Bashishi, root account has a hardware MFA device enabled, failed. Amakosi ROO2, just like this. Our name ROO2, right? Then risk description, just like we did the first one, up until the end. Bashiwa Mashe fún gbogbo vulnerabilities yẹn pátá òun nìyẹn. Now, I want to draw your attention to the case of these vulnerabilities that are physical vulnerabilities, uh, um, vulnerabilities found on physical devices. MRFA, we have multiple of them, medium. But how do we go about their own risk register? The same process now, in only the impact level and the likelihood level, which I just want to show you. Now, when you look at it, Tava click Lori, this medium vulnerability, which has a score of 6.4. Let's click on it. It takes us here to give us the details of the vulnerability. So it says vulnerabilities in Microsoft Exchange and Windows SMTP service would allow denial of service. We'll copy this, or we'll copy this and paste this here in the risk description, and this would be the risk title. Good. Assets affected. What assets? What assets did it affect? Now, you would see that the agent here is Windows. The agent is Windows. So this is going to be Windows. Threats. Yes. Vulnerability. Yes. Now, the impact level and the likelihood level. How do we arrive at the impact level and the likelihood level? So if one is 6.4, it is the use of this vector, which I believe everybody knows how to use. This vector. Ibẹ̀ láti máa lọ lo CVSS calculator wa. CVSS calculator. I believe this is version. Okay. So òun ló máa fún wa ní what is the value of the impact level as well as the likelihood level. So we're just passing those strings here. Numerically, the C is N, I is P, A is P. I'm just moving fast on this because I believe everybody knows about this already. Then the exploitability metrics. MRFA, attack vector, network, attack complexity, low, authentication, none. So this is N, L, N. So let's do that. This is N, L, and this is N. MRFA, we will now have the score. The score is still 6.4. But killer needs, I need the impact level at the exploitability. So the impact now is 4.9, exploitability is 10. So that is the value passing here. Impact, this is 4.9, and likelihood is 10.0. Then risk rating, this is going to be medium. Risk category, Ibolo belongs to, we put it. System misconfiguration. Security domain, Wolo falsy, we'll add it. Physical, it's not physical security. This is more of endpoints or application security. So risk owner, the risk owner will then be the group that particular device belongs to. Group will belong to. Let's yeah, sure. We'll definitely get the recordings like I shared yesterday's one. Uh, okay, is this the same as POM? Yes, this is the same as plan of action and milestone. No, not entirely. Not entirely. I'm a debut POM like amade bi POM. because the next stage, it says collaborate with IT teams to implement security patches and updates. And you know that in PWAM, MOP document, be tool locally, or it could be a document, it could be a tool. That man track the progress, that fix the and vulnerabilities that they identify. That is PWAM. This would also be a part of it, but currently what we're doing is to analyze and prioritize based on risk and potential impact. So bá a ṣe máa pass gbogbo àwọn values yẹn sí òun lélẹ́yìí sínú risk register wa. So we've been able to successfully conduct this part. Next part, ó wá ní, let's collaborate with IT teams to implement security patches and updates. So yes, we have identified vulnerabilities, yes. So what then is the line of action? How do I then say, okay, okay, Emma Bino, I jumped the step. You've completed this risk register. The next point of action is to send this, you download it or you save it, then you send the copy of this to your security manager or you send it to your CISO. My hierarchy tẹ́ bá ní nínú organization yín, hierarchy tẹ́ bá ní nínú organization yín ló máa determine ibi tẹ́ máa send ẹ lọ. Mo máa ń fi eléyìí ṣe reference, there's a diagram tí mo máa ń sábà lò. Let me see if I can find that very fast. There's a diagram tí mo máa ń lò. Yes. So when you look at this, as a security analyst, this is where you are. So definitely you're reporting to the security manager. So you send this to the security manager, of course. Now, tẹ́ bá ti wá send there, tẹ́ bá ti wá approve gbogbo àwọn remediation suggestions tẹ́ ẹ sọ yìí pé, okay, this is the risk response strategy tẹ́ ẹ recommend, and this is the mitigation notes. The next point wá ní àwọn vulnerabilities tá a ti wá rí yìí, let us, excuse me, assign these tasks, the task to patch or to solve these vulnerabilities to um, to the appropriate persons. Ó láwọn vulnerabilities tẹ́ máa assign fún IT support analyst. Ó ní tẹ́ máa assign fún àwọn SOC team. Ó ní tẹ́ máa assign fún àwọn security analyst. Ó ní tẹ́ máa assign fún àwọn system administrators. So how do we go about that? Now, we usually have these, what's it called? This management tool that man track the tasks. Now, even in Power Wally, any softwares be ServiceNow, any softwares be Jira, any ClickUp, on command lo Slack, but Jira is quite known to everyone. So, irú eléyìí ńsìn, root account MFA enabled. Mo lè assign eléyìí fún pé wọ́n ti fún mi permission pé ká solve gbogbo àwọn kìíní. Mo lè assign eléyìí, I'll just come here, I'll click on this, then I'll say send to Jira. Or you can also, within the details of the vulnerability, just click on this and say send to Jira. So you're sending. So of course, ẹ ti máa integrate Jira pẹ̀lú Prowler yín, and with every other tool for your vulnerability scan, it might integrate Jira or ServiceNow or any other project management tool. Ẹ ti máa integrate ẹ sínú ẹ̀. So I'm going to send to Jira. So projects, I have a Jira account actually. So my account assign a your account. Now this is the name of the company, understand? So issue type, it is a task. Maybe I should come again. Let me come again. I think this is your risk register. It's a prior risk register in. It's a recommend the remediations. It was send a lot of CISO. CISO to work in approval if they can remediate it as soon as possible. But I think go ahead. Yeah. The next point is what this job description is saying. Collaborates with IT teams to implement security patches and updates. Collaborate with IT teams. So the IT team, you have in the IT team, you have the SOC analyst, vulnerability team, compliance team, IT team. Anyone, you collaborate with all of them to what? To implement security patches that you identify and updates. So we now go back here to our tool. Quite easy. What do you do then? For each vulnerability, you click on it. I click L'Oreal. You click on this, then you say send to Jira. So what projects? You click on the drop down. Orúkọ company yín ẹ ti máa rí ńbẹ̀. Fáwọn tá bá ní Jira account, I will walk you through how to do that. But fáwọn tí um, um, fáwọn tó wà nínú course ni o. So I'll walk you through how to create your Jira account and how to integrate it into Prowler so that you can also practice this. Now, ẹ máa mú orúkọ company yẹn báyìí. Issue type. This is going to be a task you want to assign. You click on that. Then you say send to Jira. So, ó yẹ kó fún wa ní information. Finding successfully sent to Jira. Ó ti send ẹ lọ sọ́dọ̀ Jira báyìí. So now let us. This is Jira. Now, tẹ́ bá wo board mi, this Jira board, you'll see that I have a to-do, a to-do, one to-do. Prowler, critical IAM route MFA enabled. So, enter by assign ẹ̀ fún bá ṣe rí task yẹn lélẹ̀. They will click on it. Let me go back to the home page. Okay. Come on to active lórí báyìí. This is what it shows. This is the vulnerability or this is the risk. First thing you have to do when a task is assigned. So, ẹ mọ̀, oríṣiríṣi organizations pẹ̀lú procedures wọn. When a task is assigned to you, let us know you've seen the task and you are working on it. You come here, MRE to do. You now click in progress. That is when you're ready to pick up the task. Because you can have 50 tasks. Hey, make sure you change it to in progress. So that as okay, and it is lórí. So the 2 days, the 48 hours, tá a ti sọ pé ó gbọ́dọ̀ ti wà remediated, a máa máa kà. Then, these are the details of the vulnerability. The check ID, check title, root MFA has MFA enabled, root account has MFA enabled, critical risk, status fail. Now, one very good thing about Prowler is it tells you step by step how to remediate. Tẹ́bá recommendation, enable MFA, recommendation order. Only first, sign into AWS Management Console as a root account user. Open the account menu. In the MFA, choose assign MFA device. Select the authenticator. Open any step-by-step guide. Tẹ́ bá ti wá ṣe tán, tẹ́ ti parí ẹ̀. Then you change this to done. Let's get it down. So, iṣẹ́ yín ti parí báwọn. Gbogbo business ẹ̀ ní pẹ̀lú Jira nìyẹn. So you see that you find done. 2 tasks has been done by you. 2 in progress. You don't have anything on your to-do. So you have to do task, you have in progress, you have done task. So eléyìí cater fún this particular job description, which says collaborate with IT teams to implement security patches and updates. So eléyìí tó sọ̀rọ̀ nípa develop and implement remediation plans to mitigate identified vulnerabilities. You don't need to do any of this because this has also been provided by, when it comes to remediation, the remediation is already there. Step by step information, remediation steps. What you want there already. So you don't need to do this. Um, Maybe you can have like a document whereby you just have remediation for some certain vulnerabilities and can just do a copy and paste and have it there. So that suffices for develop and implementation of the plans. Then collaborate with IT teams, conduct voluntary scanning to identify and validate weaknesses and remediation. Aha, very good. Cyber life cycle, we've been able to talk about identify, we've been able to assess, we've been able to prioritize. Then we've been able to remediate. So how do you remediate? Just like what we said here on Jira or here. Yeah, let's go back to Jira for this particular one. You see that just follow the steps to remediate. Once you're done, just click on done and you're done with the remediation. So that suffices for, for remediation here. Now, verification, which is the last phase of the vulnerability management lifecycle. The job description says conduct vulnerability scanning to identify and validate weaknesses and remediation. That is, okay, ẹni tí mo assign task fún yìí, ó ní òun ti done, if òun ti implement remediation yìí. As a security analyst, you just don't believe that. You want to validate and verify that that remediation has taken place. So what do? You verify. That is, you come back to Prowler and scan again. You scan that asset again to make sure that that's vulnerability disappeared. Tó bá ti disappear, fine. Tí ó bá ti disappear, ẹ tún máa report ẹ tún máa kọ sínú risk register again, which is what uh, um, this is talking about. Vulnerability scanning to identify what? To identify and validate weaknesses and remediation. Then provide recommendation for security improvements and best practices. Then collaborate with stakeholders to ensure security awareness and remediation. So security awareness, we were talking about it in our next project, and this is everything we want to talk about on this cloud security vulnerability management project. Please let me know if there are questions. Let me check the tab to see if there are questions. So whenever an active subscription is required, but yet it is scanned. Yes, Jira is open source as well. Jira is open source. And maybe it's the Prowler scan tele, because I also got this message yesterday on an account that I've used to scan before. So I'll suggest if you can Kefi email me, Kefi open another one. Kefi email account me, Kefi open another Prowler account. So this is everything we want to discuss on this particular project that talks about um, vulnerability assessment on virtual assets, cloud AWS scanning with Prowler. So the documentation to this project will be provided to you very soon. Please let me know if there are any further questions around this. I think it's quite straightforward, and I believe from what we discussed, I believe everyone here can apply for this job, this particular job. Everyone here can apply for it because you are able to confidently scan for vulnerabilities on physical assets using Nessus. Kò sí tool tó máa gbé wá, it is still the same procedure. You just have to find your way. But you can discuss all of these things critically. You know what risks are, you know what threats are, you know what vulnerabilities are. So you know the management life cycle itself. Tẹ́yìn náà bá wò ẹ́ máa rí pé gbogbo róòlù tó wà ń bì ó dá lé lórí the vulnerability management life cycle. Gbogbo nǹkan tó wà ń bẹ̀ nìyẹn. So tẹ́ bá ti gbọ́ yé, you're very good to go. And I believe everybody here can apply for this role. So kò ní jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Please let me know if there are any questions. Okay. Please send the link to this. Okay. So this. Okay. I'm gonna want to send it on. I'll send it again. I'll tell them to send it again. Then the link to apply to the job. I'll just share. You can just go to reach.co.uk. I can also share the link directly here. So are we going to open a new Prowler account for each scan, or it's just because of limitation? Yes, it's just because of the limitation. Yes. Please send the live recording on the WhatsApp. Sure, sure. So we'll send it, and okay, my GitHub link. Uh, this is try it. So I'll try it. So this is my GitHub page. So please, when you visit the GitHub page, I check in confirm now. I want to send you the direct link. Yes, this is my page. Uh, mm, I'm not been active actually, but please, I'll send it here. That's my GitHub page. Sure. So you all get the recordings to LinkedIn. LinkedIn is just let me see. Mm, okay. So the LinkedIn with this. So I was sending the Jira to get set up by step. Are we sending to Jira to get step-by-step procedure for remediation? Are we sending to Jira to get step-by-step procedure for remediation? Uh, Not exactly, because the Prowler itself is what provides the step-by-step remediation process. Òun gangan ló ń provide the process yẹn. Ó kàn attach ẹ̀ mọ́ ara àwọn documents or information tó máa send lọ sọ́dọ̀ Jira. So if it's Nessus, for example, you won't get this step-by-step remediation order. You won't get it. So this is just about it. So torí pé Prowler òun ní functionality yẹn. Nessus also has. Nessus will tell you how to solve the problem. Yes, Nessus has that as well. It tells you how to solve the problem, gives you the remediation for that particular issue. Yes, yes, you're correct. Yeah. Uh, so I'll send you the recording to this video. Like I promised, I put me in Loto 1 hour and there's a paring that I've So please expect the documentation to this particular project before the end of today. I believe there are no further questions. Okay, any professor said that can just complete our project well. Let us complete our project. Let's try. Ẹ jẹ́ ká ṣe káwa náà, tá a bá ṣe ẹ̀mí náà, just play around it. Our functionalities kan tí mi ò sọ̀rọ̀ nípa gan, go through the compliance, see what you can make of the compliance aspect. Just pick, irú mo tún ti fẹ́ máa sọ̀rọ̀, ẹ má bínú. Mo mọ̀ pé ẹjọ́ mi pọ̀, I believe. You can go through some of those job descriptions and kẹ́ wo àwọn standards wo ni wọ́n wà you know non-low àbí náà wà concerned about so ẹ máa lè fi yẹn filter. See this one. Yeah, and right, the unboxing. Yeah, let's do cybersecurity analyst role. This is some security analyst roles. Security analyst training, ẹ jẹ́ ká wo security analyst role yìí. Contract full time. No. So, check out. Even the security analyst role, some of the skills, you see your key responsibilities, you see that you need to conduct threat hunting, which I believe everybody knows how to do here. Log analysis, I believe everybody here can do that. And security investigation, identify vulnerabilities and track remediation actions. I believe everybody here can comfortably go around these two. Uh, what other thing is here? It's more nothing is here. Remember it. Second list. Cybersecurity analyst, operations engineer. I see. Mo kàn fẹ́ wo àwọn compliance frameworks. See one low. All that. Egg security analyst. So àwọn rules they will mention or frameworks tí wọ́n fẹ́ ká mọ̀. Same so ideas. Okay. About Williams saying, and look at this. It says familiar with cybersecurity frameworks such as NIST CSF, ISO 27001, CIS controls. Now, Eliloshi Pina, just a bit of finding. It was B. You just type in the NIST CSF, the NIST, MRE, NIST CSF. Now, Emma 1.1 to 2.0 one. So, you Emma wo our requirements see this your current AWS console passes àti kí ló kù ẹ máa rí pé ó pass 11 ó 39 ó fail 39 nínú a total of 78 ó fail 39 ó pass and 28 are manual. Now kí làwọn top failed sections ẹ máa rí protect, govern, detect, identify and respond. So you can further dig into it and you can see what aspect of the vulnerabilities ní o match the govern function. Just try to delve into it more. So we'll stop here for today. Have a very great day, everyone. Bye bye.